This episode is brought to you by HP Plus. In a world full of smart devices, isn't it about time your printer got smart too? Now printing is smart with HP Plus, and the HP Smart app is how it all happens. You can print from your phone with just a tap, no matter where you are, even from your garage/home office/yoga studio. Huh, that is smart. HP Plus. Learn more about smart printing at hp.com/smart.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real. My name is Michael Richards II, and with me, as always, is
Matthew Kirstie Haas.
That is a beautiful name.
It is. Actually, it's interesting. Kirstie, her last name's Allen, right?
Yeah.
Kirstie, well, my middle name is...
No, it's Allie.
Allie, okay. Well,
yeah.
My middle name is Allen, so, okay.
Yeah. I don't know why I agree with you. I meant to not agree with you, but I...
I shouldn't say my full name on there. God, okay.
Also, his address is...
yeah, here's my social security number and my bank routing number.
Yes. His mother's maiden name is... no.
This is my first pet, my favorite high school teacher.
Yeah. His first car was a... no. I love that on Facebook when they have those things that are like, what are your, what was your favorite cartoon character growing up? And you're like, I'm not going to answer that because... that may or may not be one of my passwords. It isn't, but you know what I mean? I'm just saying. It's so stupid. It's like... yeah. Because they'll have those surveys on Facebook that I think are just basically there as a phishing scam to try to get your passwords. And then all of a sudden you've got, like, everybody on your timeline has filled them out, and you're just like, okay... I thought my friends were smarter than this.
Well, it's like the people who post that little. Well, they don't really do it that much anymore. But when they post that, they like Facebook privacy. Like, you're not allowed to. I'm like, oh yeah, Facebook is really gonna take you. Like, oh man, like they posted a status update. Oh, our hands are tied now. I'm like, no, like they're a multi-billion-dollar company. Like.
That's just as legally binding as if you post a video on YouTube and right before the video you say no copyright infringement meant or whatever people put up there all the time, and then they play a Beatles song throughout their video, and you're like, yeah, you're not going to be legally allowed to do this, people.
I know.
Yeah. So, anyways, so today on the show we are covering the short-lived sitcom Kirstie, the pilot for that, on our Pilot Error review series here. Kirstie was a television sitcom starring Kirstie Alley, known for Cheers and Veronica's Closet, that aired on TV Land from December 4th of 2013 until February 26th of 2014. And then TV Land canceled the show on July 29th, 2014. So, yes. There were 12 episodes. Good times. Good times.
Yep.
Well, actually, Good Times lasted a lot longer than this show.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Dynamite. So, this show stars Kirstie Alley as Madison Maddie Banks, who is a Broadway star. Eric Petersen as Arlo Barth, Maddie's biological son. Rhea Perlman as Thelma Katz, Maddie's personal secretary. And Michael Richards as Frank Baxter, Maddie's driver. So, Yep. Decent cast of has-beens and future B. Hopefully. Because Eric Petersen is currently on the TV show Kevin Can Fuck Himself. On AMC, which I watched the pilot of, and it was pretty good, so there's hope for this guy. The show was the pilot, that is, was directed by Andy Cadiff and written by Marco Panetti, or Panetti, I don't know. It's Pennettete. So, yeah. Okay, so what do we got going on in this episode here, Matt?
It kind of opens up with like Kirstie's character, I think, finishing up maybe one of her plays or something, and she's got all these people like wanting autographs and just all these accolades, because she's like a famous theater actress or whatever. And then her driver's really not there to pick her up yet because he's apparently doing something else. And
he's
Michael Richards.
Yeah, he's taking tourists around New York City while he's waiting to pick up Kirstie Alley's character.
That's right, yeah, because he's trying to make extra money. Yeah. And he's doing some, Kramer-esque things of, like, shaking his body and dropping a sandwich, whatever he's doing. Like,
but he wasn't quite as much of Kramer in this as he was in the Michael Richards show.
Exactly. I made a note of that, too, earlier. Yeah. Like, he's got a little bit of, like, the body shakes here and there, but it's not, personality-wise, not so much. So yeah, he picks her up or whatever, and she, they had this little gag where he's like, "Oh, I was gonna go swing by the, some world famous deli or whatever," and then she's like, "Get back here!" And he's like, "Well, maybe pick me up pastrami," or I don't know what she said, something like that. I don't know. And so he takes her back to her apartment or whatever, and she's talking to her. Her, I don't know, agent or something, Rhea Perlman's character, I forgot.
That's her personal secretary.
That's right, personal. And then, they get a knock on the door, and then it's that, this guy shows up, and it's, turns out that it's, her biological son. And, at first they're like, don't know if it's like some scam artist, or, whoever. And then, eventually, because they had this whole thing where, apparently he had a very specific birthmark, so they made him take his pants down.
I do want to point out that the show she's in on Broadway is called Worst Case Scenario. And I just want to point out that I don't know if they saw the irony in that.
Well, it could have been like a little thing, like a joke, or maybe like a...
I'm just saying that this show is the worst case scenario.
I thought you were saying that her having a son was the worst case scenario. Like, that's pretty mean.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the show itself,
it's one of those. This is why it's hard to talk about, because I made a note of this too. So, like, occasionally we'll review a show that's not terrible but not good. So then it's hard to talk about because when something's so bad, it's easy to make fun of, right? But like when you got a show that's just bland, it's like how can you really?
It's a worst case scenario.
It is a worst case scenario. That's what it is. Because I'm sitting there watching it like last Sunday, and I'm like, oh, that was kind of funny, I guess. But then it's like, like a little chuckle. It's not like, oh, okay, that was all right.
I mean, I'll go into it more in my review at the end, how I feel, but it's kind of one of those things that you could have on in the background and not kill yourself for having on in the background.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
But you would never like look up from your telephone if you're scrolling your texts or something, and if you're reading your emails or something, you're not going to get surprised and be like, oh, I wonder what Kirstie's doing. No. No.
Right.
Yeah. Her co-star in the show in the Broadway show she was in, Worst Case Scenario here, is played by Christopher McDonald, who it's recently been announced is going to be in the Secret Wars or something like that, the new Marvel show that's coming out soon. So
awesome.
Yeah. And he also, he played Shooter McGavin in, yeah. So, yeah.
Yep.
So there we go. He was in this too. So.
Yeah. He was like basically like the male counterpart, like as conceited as
yeah, like a pompous asshole, basically too.
Like,
yeah.
They're all cheering, and they both say, "Oh, they're cheering for me," type of thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to remember what else. I know that he shows him his birthmark because they made him take his pants down, which is weird. And then because like you just you meet your biological mother for the first time and she already makes you take your pants down. It's kind of weird. Okay, and then true.
And when they're at this place, it appears okay. You got Thelma. That's Rhea Perlman's character. You've got this driver with a shady past, Frank, played by Michael Richards. And then you have a really good-looking chef, played by Giles Marini. And it's one of those situations in a show where the supporting characters seem to have no lives of their own that don't involve the main character. You know what I mean? Like, it's like...
Yeah, no, I do.
Yeah,
weird.
because it's, in some shows you can tell, like, well, somebody has a family outside of the storyline, or somebody, because honestly, if any good movie or sitcom or play or book or anything like that, every character should be the star of their own movie in their mind. You know what I mean? Like, if even if you're playing the third guy from the left in the background, you should be able to just stop following the main actor and then go and follow that guy.
Yeah.
And he would actually have a life. It might not be as interesting as the... but as an actor myself, I would always try to come up with a backstory, even from like the one line I had in a play or something like that, to try to figure out why this guy is on stage at this point, and try to know in my mind what he was doing before he walked on stage and what he's doing after he walks off stage. Like I played a cab driver who was kind of a bigger part in a play called Funny Money when I was younger, but I knew in my mind that he had a family, and in my mind he had a young baby son at home. Wasn't in the script at all, but I had that in my head,
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, because if your character, dead, then you don't have to tell anyone about it, but you're thinking about it. Mm-hmm. That's what I always forget his name. I think his name was something Bigley Jr. or something like that.
Ed Bigley Jr. Yeah.
Yeah. When they were doing A Mighty Wind, he was just like, his method was just like, he would just read like random books about stuff like that didn't even have anything to do like with this character.
Yeah.
But like for example, like he was like at one point was like just reading about like the history of plumbing, like indoor plumbing that had nothing to do with like his actual character, like at least like on the outside, but like inwardly, because like that character was like really weird and stuff like that. So like it just kind of in his mind made sense to like study that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
like there's just weird things about people, like where whatever like gets your creativity flowing, like just how your brain works. Like, you know, I need to study this, even though my character really isn't about this. Like,
but here in this show, I get the feeling that when Michael Richards walks off the set, he disappears.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like his character just doesn't exist. The chef just walks into the kitchen, and he's just waiting there for his next line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just.
I mean, like with Fresh Prince and stuff. Even like, what's his name? Butler, is it Jeffrey?
Jeffrey, yeah.
He at least like, I mean, yeah, they didn't really show him doing much after work or whatever, but like he specifically had like, he was off the clock at 8 p.m. and he didn't have to do anything after that. Like he would go to his room or whatever.
And you still felt like you didn't know what he was doing, but you felt like, okay, maybe he's going in his room and he's watching, you know, a rerun of MASH in his room or something. You know what I mean? You felt like maybe he was going off to do something, you know? You didn't think that he just walked out of the Banks' house or into his room or whatever he was doing, and he just stopped being. You know, you felt like he was doing something in another room. Yeah. But like the chef exactly. walks into the kitchen and you just feel like he's just standing there waiting for his next cue. Because it's so badly written. Yeah. Yep. It's basically a phone, and they're phoned in performances because of that. So anyways, I guess we went into a little bit of a review there, but still, okay. So they basically find out, you know, through this birthmark, because they had to take his pants down and shit, that Arlo, who is the son, is this dorky guy who's a Civil War reenactor. Yeah, they realize that he isn't after money; he's just after a relationship with his mother, and he wants to get to know her better. And so she's like, you know, conflicted by this thing and doesn't really want to. So she basically gives him her autobiography to read, so she can learn about him. Learn about her, I mean. So he can learn about her. I mean, not she can learn about him, but the other way around. Yeah. And he works at a donut shop. And, you know, she just can't understand that.
What was the name of it? It was like a really weird name. Oh, shoot.
Oh, something. It was some kind of pun.
Yeah. Oh, well.
So it's so memorable that I totally forgot it. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Oh well. I know that they thought it was like a club or something like that. Oh well.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So, do you want to take a quick break here, Matt, and we'll come back and talk about the rest of this episode?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. We'll be right back.
What is Gen X? What is the silent generation? What do generations have in common? Hi, I'm Trish the Dish from the Gen X Voice podcast, and I invite you to listen to conversations I have with folks from different generations, backgrounds, beliefs, and experiences in an attempt to see what connects rather than divides us. Even though Gen X has been called slackers, Karens, or not mentioned at all in some cases, we are the bridge generation, so I feel compelled to do my part to destroy ageism by bringing all these voices together. And, as a bonus, each guest gets to answer some 80s questions at the end of each show. So download and listen to Gen X Voice today on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And let's see how much we have in common after all.
Hi, this is Catherine, host of a new fashion podcast, The Real Fashion School Dropout. Join me as I interview guests every week in the fashion and beauty space, and we gossip on all things fashion and beauty, and even get into some personal stories of their journey in the industry. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Hope to see you there.
And we are back. So, Kirstie.
Yep.
The greatest sitcom ever to be on television with the name Kirstie. I'm hoping the only one that was ever on the air named Kirstie.
Probably.
Yes. So Maddie, Kirstie's character, she's got this like attitude towards her son. You know, she doesn't want to have anything to do with him because she put him up for adoption because she was basically not ready to have a kid because her career was taking off. And he's this, Civil War reenactor, donut shop employee. Yeah. So basically, she also doesn't really want him around because her friends think she's 36 and he's 26. So do the math there. So basically, Frank, her driver, played by Michael Richards, keeps insisting that he could just, bump the kid off to prevent any possible complications. Like you do.
Yeah.
If I had a kid come to my door tomorrow, I expect you, Matt, to offer to kill the kid, okay?
Yeah, sure.
If you're a true friend, that's what you'll do.
And then I'll send a note to his parents saying, "Merry Christmas, Mom and Dad. I'm dead."
Yes, that's what you do. That's how you do it. Great inside joke between the two of us that no one else is going to find funny, but we do. And that's all that matters, Matt.
Yep.
Merry Christmas, Mom and Dad. I'm dead. Yes. That's how you do it. Anyway, so so this is like, it was on TV Land. So it's got this whole feel of an older sitcom even though it's a modern sitcom. So it doesn't really know what it wants to be. So Maddie has later on has this party with a bunch of her Broadway, friends and cast members and stuff like that there. And Arlo shows up. And she doesn't know how to react to this and tell people who it is, so she kind of rushes him into the kitchen with the chef who's presumably just been sitting there since the last scene he was in. Because I know nothing about him except for the fact that he's her chef.
Yep. He just lives in the kitchen, just waits for, his next line. It's like, "Oh, you want me to make you something? I've just been sitting in my chair taking a cat nap." Okay.
Yep. See, I don't even think he makes anything. I think somebody else makes it and gives it to him so he can serve it and pretend he made it.
Yeah.
Yep. Wait, that's probably what really happens because he's an actor, not a chef. Anyway, so...
Right.
My thing is, if you're going to do this, why don't you just cast, Emeril Lagasse as the chef? Because at least then we know he's a real chef.
Yeah.
I don't know. No offense to the actor, I'm just saying. The writing did him no favors. He's probably a wonderful actor. Oh, God. This show hurt my head, Matt. And not in a way that was like, oh, this is so bad it's hurting my head. It was more in a, why the fuck am I watching this sort of way?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I watched it like 2 weeks ago, and I'm already forgetting things. So, I know they had this party. He's there, and then he basically realizes that she doesn't want to have anything to do with him. So he goes back to his life, you know, and at the donut shop and whatnot. And I'm assuming he has other things in his life too, but they didn't really give me that either.
Except for the Civil War reenactment, that's about it.
Uh-huh. I mean, there might be more development in the other 11 episodes that I'm not going to watch. But, unless I get really desperate for something to watch on TV. But in the age of streaming, I don't think that's going to happen, Matt.
No. Got too much to go on, yeah.
I'd rather just rewatch an episode of How I Met Your Mother or some other good sitcom.
Yeah.
You know. Anyways, so what happens next? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. After she basically makes him wear like one of the wait staff uniforms to make it seem like he's a waiter instead of, you know, her son that came to the party. Yeah, he goes back to the donut shop or whatever. She finds out where he works and tries to apologize to him, but he's really not having it. And his co-worker's like not really nice and is saying mean things about him. So then Maddie kind of gets protective then about that because the co-worker's just like, you know, being sarcastic. So then they get into some big fight where they're throwing donuts at each other. Well, I think Maddie threw a donut at his co-worker first. Again, I don't even know if this co-worker had a name or anything because they didn't really, you know.
The co-worker's name was Maureen, and she no, and I'm just making this shit up. And she she lives with her mother and hopes to one day own the donut shop. And she really likes to watch Disney movies. Specifically The Little Mermaid, that's her favorite. And also on Tuesdays she always likes to go to Saks Fifth Avenue and just window shop. She doesn't, you know, buy anything. She just likes to look at the beautiful dresses that she hopes to one day own. See, this is something that they could have done with a character. Not saying it should have been this character, but I'm just saying you can create character development and somehow maybe, you know, make this happen. I don't know how.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be on the screen either, but, you know, just give me something that makes me feel like these people are real and not just mannequins or like some kind of, you know, Chuck E. Cheese animatronic that just comes on when I press a button and they fucking sing a song or whatever, you know? Just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that would have been more entertaining if that had happened in the show at one point. Like a Civil War reenactment, but made with animatronic people. That would have been kind of cool.
That would have been awesome.
Yes. Like, yeah, so they get into this big donut fight, you know, makes the whole floor a mess, so then he's like got to clean it up or whatever, so he's pissed off about that. And then Maddie goes into some big speech or whatever about, you know, how she's sorry, blah, blah, blah. You know, that she wants to know him more. I think that's when it happened. And then I guess he goes.
Yeah, we have our other conflict there where he doesn't want to make up with her.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, because he's pissed off at her for rejecting him like 2 times in the past 2 days or whatever. And then he goes back to her place or whatever, and then basically she's going to make like a project out of him, I guess. like that. Which again, that's a great thing.
That happens. I think that happens at the end, after because I think that he gets invited to her play first, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, that's right. And then, that's where she makes a big speech.
Yeah, she makes a big speech. They're trying to lower the curtain on her and Christopher McDonald's characters, and she does this big heartfelt speech to her son on stage, and Christopher McDonald keeps trying to end the show, basically. And then after that, then in the dressing room is when she makes this, saying that she's going to make the project and everything, and then blah, blah, blah. Frank comes in and says something stupid, and then I don't even remember. But, yeah. And then eventually the credits roll.
Yep. And that's the show, which I think is hilarious, right? So, she finally, wants to know her son, and then her first thing is, I don't like who you are. I'm going to turn you into a project. Oh, that's
yep.
Okay, that's nice.
And I'm pretty sure that's probably what the rest of the season's about, is her trying to make him into something better, and then eventually realizing, well, maybe he's just okay the way he is.
Yep. That's exactly what's going to happen. I'm not going to watch it, but that's what's going to happen throughout the 12 episodes.
Maybe I'll watch the 12th episode just to see.
Just to see what happens, yeah.
It's kind of like those people that'll read the first chapter and the last chapter of a novel just to, find out that the butler did it or whatever. And,
exactly.
So, I don't know. I mean, I know it's quick, Matt, but do you want to take another break and then we'll wrap things up after the break about our feelings about this episode and maybe some trivia and some reviews of the show?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be right back, folks.
Need a new podcast to listen to? Well, why not check out the Super Podcast from the Super Network at supermarcy.com, where we discuss films and pop culture, and we do monthly fan-voted commentaries. We are available on all major podcasting platforms.
And like Arlo after 26 years, we are back. Oh, God, Matt.
This episode felt like it was 26 years long.
Yes. I think I want to call my mom and tell her I love her.
That's nice.
Yeah. I don't know if this sitcom made me feel like that, but I just think I want to. Thank her for not giving me up for adoption and becoming a Broadway star. Oh, God. Anyway, so basically there's no real trivia about this thing except for Kirstie Alley's character. The only trivia they have is that Kirstie Alley's character crossed over into an episode of Hot in Cleveland on TV Land as well, which was a much longer running sitcom on TV Land.
Yeah.
Yes. So, you want me to read some reviews here, Matt?
Sure.
Okay. Do you want to... Okay. Do you want a 1 out of 10, a 9 out of 10, a 3 out of 10? What do you want me to start with here, Matt?
Start with the lower ones.
Okay, here's a 1 out of 10. The headline is just Kirstie. And this is by G-Theys on December 9th of 2013. I honestly don't know where they dug Kirstie up from, because she's aged and should really climb back into the closet, which was a pun because she was on Veronica's Closet, so I thought that was kind of funny. Her attempt at acting and humor is just awful. And the son, really, did they decide to get someone with absolutely no looks whatsoever to match the same skill set as Kirstie? Come on. After 2 episodes of this trollop, please just bench this series. It's really bad. Take some lessons from Mom, Trophy Wife, or Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Fresh and different and funny, not Kirstie. Common people, we want to be entertained and made to laugh, not feel sorry for aged has-beens. Go back to the drawing board. No, wait. Just burn the drawing board. Okay.
Wow.
Here is a 3 out of 10. Canceled after one terrible season. This is by Al B. Fine. On 3rd of August, 2014. I've watched most of the episodes and have not found anything funny in this over-the-top pathetic attempt to revive washed-up has-been actors' careers. I loved Cheers and Seinfeld and was intrigued by all these actors getting together to get us laughing, but that never happened. Even the music was terrible, and the laugh track was just ridiculous. Who laughs and claps hysterically at these quote-unquote jokes? Not me. The decision to cancel it is the best decision they ever have made. No star power or quest stars like Travolta or guest stars. They said quest, but I think they meant guest. Guest stars like Travolta or Griffin or Jason Alexander. By the way, that episode was cringeworthy. Could save the sinking ship. There are plenty of terrible shows on TV already. One less won't make much of a difference, but at least it will not ruin my love for these actors in much better roles. They're all in their 60s. Maybe it's time to stop. Or maybe their agents should be fired. Wow, that was really kind of harsh, even though I hated this show. But, here is a 10 out of 10. You want to hear this?
Sure.
This is 10 out of 10. Ignore the haters. This was from January 15th of 2014 by Tyleys64. I don't know, whatever. This show is excellent. The cast has really gelled, and their chemistry is awesome. I love Kirstie Alley's character and how she really is growing to love her son. Eric Petersen as Arlo could very well be the show's breakout star. Eric Petersen is a good actor as well as a nice singer. I especially love the episode that featured Cloris Leachman and Kathy Griffin. The Christmas episode was very touching. Rhea Perlman and Michael Richards really add the perfect comedic touch to the series. I expect TV Land to renew this series. All of you haters really need to check yourselves. Yeah. You know what's really sad, Matt? I've had more fun reading these reviews than I did watching the show.
Wow.
And I just realized that as I read that last review.
It is kind of more entertaining when you have just like a synopsis than having to go through. Yeah.
So, Matt. Question. Would you recommend this show to anyone?
No. Nope.
Nope. Not even an enemy?
No, well, maybe an enemy, but it's just bland. It's just there's nothing. Like I said before, if something's really bad, it still gives you something to talk about, and it's entertaining because it's so bad. But like, I don't know, like shows like this, we've done a few like this where it's just like right in the middle. Like it's not hot or cold. It's just well, it's like.
And it's not hot in Cleveland, yeah.
Well, exactly, yeah. It's or cold in Cleveland. It's just, it in Cleveland, and
yeah.
And I don't know, shows like these don't really leave you with any. That's the thing too. Doesn't leave you with any emotion, any thought. It's just like, I don't get that kind of style of shows. I just don't. But apparently, some people think it's good. So,
well, I mean, Big Bang Theory was on the air for what, 9 or 10 years?
More. It had 12 seasons.
Yeah, and yeah,
but even that still had better moments than this show did. So,
I guess, I guess.
Well, because there's more. For one thing, there's more character. Well, they did because, like you said, they actually showed the characters had lives outside of being together. So you got to see.
That is true. The first season or two weren't that bad. Yeah. I don't know why I have so much hate for that show. Maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to think. If Kirstie falls into a Two Broke Girls sort of realm.
It's worse than that, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But I do still think that Two Broke Girls somehow is the worst sitcom that's ever been on television.
Oh, wow.
Even if there are other shows that are worse. The problem I had with Two Broke Girls is their laugh track was louder than anything in the whole fucking world.
Oh.
Yeah. So, my other question, Matt, is if you could hang out for one day with either Kirstie Alley, Michael Richards, or Rhea Perlman, which one of the three are you hanging out with?
I think Michael Richards is funnier, but he doesn't seem like he's that great of a person. So probably Rhea Perlman.
Yeah, I'm thinking Rhea Perlman just because she's the least controversial of the three.
Yeah, and plus too, if you hang out with her, you might also get to hang out with Danny DeVito. So
I don't know, I think they're divorced now, but still.
Oh, they are? Okay.
But there is a chance, you never know.
Yeah.
And plus, she's...
Did I tell you about...
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Did I ever tell you about the dream I had when I was like it was like the summer of like 7th grade going into 8th grade? And I have no idea what brought on this dream. So like, it was like one of those dreams where it was like in 2 parts, but the 2 parts didn't really have anything to do with each other. And the first part was this black limousine pulled into my driveway, and like all these guys.
Matt? Hello? Rolling.
All right. Well, apparently Rhea Perlman and Danny DeVito did not want me to tell that dream because the feed just went dead right as I mentioned the black limousine. Okay, so hopefully this will work now. So they kidnapped me, this this guy in black suits and stuff like that. Apparently I knew too much about some situation, so then take me into the car. There's some crime lord dude who's the guy in charge of this kidnapping or whatever. And then they take me to a jet, a private jet that this guy owns. And they're, I guess, trying to take me to the Grand Canyon for some reason. I don't know. And then, well, no, that's not what happened. So there was a guy who who was a U.S. Marshal, but he was in on the whole scheme. And he felt sorry for me, so he gave me a parachute and just told me to jump out at a certain time or whatever. So then they found out about that, and they shot and killed him. There was no blood though, because at that point in time I wasn't really watching violent movies. So like a lot of the James Bond movies at that point, like the Pierce Brosnan, people got shot, but you didn't really see a whole lot of blood. So
yeah,
that's what happened. And then my parachute basically took me to the edge of the Grand Canyon. That's as far as I got. And then somehow the black limousine was there again, even though we were on the jet, but whatever. This is dream logic. So they get out of the car and the crime lord gives this big speech or whatever, and then they push me off the Grand Canyon. But I didn't die for some reason. I just ended up on the ground of my not my old. I was in junior high at the time, so my junior high school. And my junior high school had this big field in the back of the school where like we had football practice and like other kind of sports, like track especially, 'cause it was like it's really long field. So like this helicopter starts descending, at some point, down the field. And it's got Rhea Perlman is in it. I think she was the one flying the helicopter. And then Danny DeVito is with the machine gun. And he starts shooting at me for some reason. And then I kept dodging all of the bullets and somehow made it out alive. But yeah, that was my dream. I think the only dream I've ever had with Rhea Perlman and or Danny DeVito. And they were trying to kill me.
That's good, because I was kind of worried when we started this that it was going to be some kind of weird sex dream with Rhea Perlman and Danny DeVito.
No. No, not nothing like that. But I did have a dream once. Speaking of dreams, I think I mentioned this once before in another episode, where the guy who played Norm from Cheers,
who does make a guest appearance in one of the episodes of Kirstie.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. So
George Wendt. Yeah,
George Wendt, and it was like current George Wendt at the time, like not like when he was the age he was in Cheers.
And
so for some reason, I have no idea why, we were both watching like TV together, but we were both laying in like a really big like king size bed, and then like out of nowhere we just get into this like extreme screaming fight with each other. Like I don't even know what it was, but like fuck you piece of shit. And it was just like out of nowhere, like, and then I woke up and it was bizarre.
So you got in a little couples quarrel with George Wendt. No,
I don't even think we were in a couple. I think it was just we just happened to be watching TV in a bed for some reason, and then we just got in. I mean, no, like, couples quarrels are one thing. Like we were like about to like murder each other over. Know what the argument, like, because it wasn't even an argument. Usually, an argument starts with something and then builds up over time. This was literally like we just turned to each other and started screaming. I got weird dreams. I think part of, I'm pretty sure that I'm mentally ill to some extent, because I don't think like regular people just have dreams like that.
Oh, I do. I do.
Okay, well, there you go.
And I'm not regular either, so it's okay. I don't think anybody is a normal person, so it's okay.
Not really.
Yeah. I mean, I had dreams when I was in grade school that Will Smith was my best friend.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and then I had a dream the other day that that aliens came and abducted my niece, and then I had to adopt my great niece.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So so those happen, and then I had to show the authorities who had my great niece like some kind of papers to prove who I was, and then my state ID was expired, so they didn't believe me. And then
oh shit.
Yeah, so I had to try to fight, and then I grabbed my great niece and just ran away with her. And I don't know what happened to my niece. I think she just is living with aliens now in the dream world. But anyways, anything else here before we wrap things up, Matt?
Nope.
Okay, and my opinion too, by the way, is nobody should watch Kirstie ever.
Yeah.
Maybe this was a premonition. Maybe you and George Wendt were fighting about the fact that Kirstie existed. Not the person, but the TV show.
That could be it, actually.
You were watching the episode he guest starred on, and he was just really mad that you were watching it, and preferred that you watched an old episode of Cheers or his performance in Granddaddy Daycare. That's my theory on it. Anyways, folks, if you could, please go to Apple Podcasts, give us a review. I don't care if it's good. I don't care if it's bad. Just give us a review. I appreciate it. And also, check out all2real2.com. We've got a lot of links there, so you can check out our Patreon, our links to all the different places you can listen to the show. Our YouTube, our Twits, and our books, and our Grams.
Mm-hmm.
And also, just, be good to each other, people. I mean, be as kind to your friends and family as TV Land was to Rhea Perlman, Michael Richards, and especially Kirstie Alley.
Yeah. Do it.
If your friends are has-beens, give them their own sitcom. If you have that ability.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Wear a mask. If you still have to. And if the guy that knocked up Maddie on this TV show would have worn a condom, there would have been no Arlo. So wear one.
Mm-hmm.
And you won't have a random kid come to your door 26 years later expecting you to be friends with him. And your life will be better for it. Wait, no. If you want to have kids, go ahead. I don't care. Kids are great. Right, Matt?
Yep.
I need to go to bed. Until next time, folks. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.